when it comes to talent, and very often business managers get it so wrong. Can you just give us a minute on that?
Who are able to find extraordinary talent and spot young talent. In the world of sport, I mean, the American term tends to be general manager, the person who's not the coach on the field but is responsible with the assistance of the coach for developing the talent pool. The real point I'm making is actually a lot simpler. There is no issue in sport whatsoever. You are dependent on the quality of the team that's on the field, period. Nobody said, you know, the shocking phrase often in the world of big business, people matter, is not a phrase that would exactly, you know, be one that would be written down by the guy who owns the Oakland A's or the San Francisco Giants or what have you. They know it's talent. You know, as I say, the point is very simple. It's if you're a symphony conductor, you may be the most creative guy in the world, but well, better have a talented first violinist, period, all stop. Talent is it. The roster is it.
Because there seems to be one underlying theme, Tom, to everything, and that is that you're a massive believer in that organizations need to be focused on talent and human development.
I have become radical beyond radical on this topic. The occasion was something in Sydney that was a celebration of Peter Drucker's life's work, but I wrote this thing and I said an organization must be a cathedral devoted to human development. And I believe it. And I'm really pushing people hard on it. The service to the customer comes entirely as a focus of the energy, enthusiasm, and attitude, not only of the person who meets you at the reception desk, but also the accountant who helps you with a credit card that's rejected, or debit card if you are outside of the United States, or what have you. There are a couple of Swedes who wrote a book that I love. A book was called Hostmanship, Hostmanship, and he said the leader is the host to his or her employees. And these guys, the two authors, I think, bought a hotel at one point, and they said our first effort was to go through the hotel and try to transform it. What does that mean? We didn't try to transform the rooms. We transformed staff cafeterias, we transformed uniforms, we transformed trainers, and then he asked this rhetorical question, and he said, what hotel would you rather stay at? The one that has a totally engaged, turned on staff, or the one that's absolutely gorgeous and has a staff that only knows one word, and the word is snarl? But I read this one that this guy Matthew Kelly wrote that was called The Dream Manager. And it's a trivial point that's profound. He said everybody has a dream. And if you can help them enable that dream, business related or not, you will have helped create an energetic person. And I thought of it, it's true here too, but well, certainly true in places like London. It's true more maybe even in the US. The frontline employee whose life is far more interesting than yours or mine and complicated is an immigrant from Ecuador who has become a single mom, who has two kids that she's raising with a limited education, blah, 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 blah. If you can help her at the margin, you know, we have a 2-year college degree that you tend to call things like an associate degree. We call the whole phenomenon junior college. You get a degree. If you can help her achieve a junior college certificate, which will change her long-term trajectory, what I'm betting, any sum of money you choose to name, is you will have a very engaged person working in your kitchen or housekeeping department or what have you. And he argues that the role of the leader is to be a dream enabler. You know, I mean, at some level you could go off into the sky on this, but the fundamental notion is right on the money. And I had never seen the language, and I really fell in love with it. I mean, the guy who really introduced me to it is a fellow by the name of Hal Rosenbluth. He inherited a little family travel company in Philadelphia called Rosenbluth. He turned it into Rosenbluth International, which became a shockingly effective organization, and he sold it to American Express for billions literally a couple years ago. But Hal wrote a book, and this is the way he lived 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, that was called Putting the Customer Second. And Hal, being a very earthy guy, I've forgotten the subtitle, but it was something like, put your employees first and kick butt in the marketplace.
Right.
Just straight Hal.
Yeah.
But it's true. Storyline is, if you really want to put your customer first, you have to put the employee who serves the customer more first. The Southwest guy, incidentally, Herb Kelleher, was and he has apparently whenever anybody asked Kelleher, how did you do this miracle at Southwest? He said, I treated my employees as my most important customers. And that's the term he uses.
It was very professional. You wouldn't, there were times when it was friendly, but it was very friendly, but it was tough at times. But it was a great mentor kind of relationship at times. Whether we were fighting or, being friendly, it was all about the best thing for the customer and the experience, which was what I loved, love to have. And that I would never trade that for anything.
I read it was kind of like father and son. Is that?
Yeah, there was love-hate moments. There were times when we were like, okay, we're going to take on the world, and then there were other times like, oh, I got to strangle him. If there isn't tension, then there's not creation. You need to have creative tension to really change things.
You quit a couple times. He
Yeah, I
fired you
did.
a couple times. You made up.
Yeah. It was a dramatic relationship.
I wonder, how do you remember it? Was it more of a team effort than sometimes this mythology would lead people to believe?
Look, when it comes to design, there is no right or wrong. There is opinion, and different people had different opinions and led the charge for certain decisions. And so there was a team effort between, myself, Johnny, the marketing team, Steve, and we would talk about the features, feature sets, what it could look like, grappling with those things. And there were certain decisions I could make myself about how we were going to implement it, but then there were certain things of what it might look like, and Johnny had a big opinion on that, but Steve, regardless of whether it was me or Johnny or product marketing, Steve always rendered the final opinion, right, on almost anything that involved the customer. So it was very much a team-oriented thing.
So is this sort of mythology that pits you and Johnny against each other? Is there any truth to that?
Like I said, creative tension is what makes things better. So we had we had times when we saw eye to eye, and there was times when we didn't. And but that's what makes a better product. So was there tension? Sure, there's tension at times. Was it personal? No. It was all about the business and the product, and I think that's what made the magic happen.